Welcome to the Blow Mold Hospital. Wanted to talk to you a little bit about glue for cracks and dings with your blow mold. Many of you have probably seen this guy here. He's quite prolific. Seems that they made a lot of these in 1968. 13-inch tall snowman. Got this guy. He's in really good shape. And last year, when I was taking him down, I had the light kit in him, but I had the metal one where this one's plastic. And when I had the light back here, I pulled it out. I heard a rip, basically. And if you can see, right down through here, he actually tore when I pulled the metal one out. And basically, you know, I was worried that it was going to keep ripping down through here and basically destroy the blow mold. And like I said, this guy is in really good shape. And for those of you who have this guy, whether in this 13-inch or in the 4.5 foot, or I believe there's like a 2.5 foot one out there as well. These are made in 1968, so they are 50 years old as of 2018. So, you know, keep your hands on them. They're really cool. They're aging quickly, so 50-year-old blow mold here. But anyway, I didn't want it to tear more. I wanted to be able to continue to use it because, again, these are in really good shape. And I started doing a little research on what I could do to fix them. So I want to tell you a little bit about what I did to fix them. So right here I use the Gorilla Glue Epoxy, sets in 5 minutes, clear. Now make sure when you're looking for this particular glue, there's several different versions of this epoxy, that you get the clear and the one that specifically says on the package that it can be used on plastic. Some of these are not good for certain plastics, and honestly, even this one says it's good for plastics. It doesn't work great on all of them. And the thing that I want to tell you about the epoxy here is that it's not really glue. So you don't, like, you know, with crazy glue, you put a little drop, smear it around, and then you attach it, and it works. This stuff, if you put a little thin layer on it, it won't stick. It won't work, and you will have a fix that doesn't last very long. But as you can see, this is the two types of epoxy. There are two different tubes here of chemicals, and you squeeze that into a tray and then use that to mix it up. And you have to use it pretty quickly because it starts hardening pretty quick. So a couple of quick things. Basically what I did here to fix this, and it's a really solid fix. You can still unfortunately see the crack. But I took a popsicle stick when I mixed this stuff together. I put a popsicle stick in here and made sure that these pieces were together, and literally just stuck the popsicle stick in there and kept brushing it off as I kept putting it in there, and made sure that it kind of covered the entire crack on the inside. One of the things that I like to do with this is to make sure that it's just got a little strength, and maybe I'm just fooling myself, but I'll take little tiny strips, no more than an inch here, of milk jug, just your standard 2% milk gallon jug. And when I put that in there, I will embed a piece or two. I think I've got 3 pieces in there, just across the joint or the break like that, and to make sure that it's stuck to the glue. And then I let that sit with the blow mold laying down because I want it to pool in that area, and when it hardens it'll put a nice thick layer on there, because again I use quite a bit of it just to make sure it's pretty solid. Then the next day when it's hardened, I will go back and put more epoxy over, again just using the popsicle stick, over the top of the plastic that's in there, just to kind of embed the plastic in the epoxy so that it's not going to get loose, it's not going to come apart. So it's got a layer of epoxy, plastic, layer of epoxy. And this particular piece, when it hardened really well. Again, I hate that you can see the crack, but I would rather be able to see the crack and know that it's not going to go any further than to not repair it well enough and have it continue to break and split all the way around and basically have to get rid of it. So anyway, that was a piece of information on that particular one. And I've also used the epoxy on a candle tip. Last year we had this out front, and unfortunately the wind got a hold of it, and when it fell, this is super thin. It literally shattered. It broke in many, many pieces, and you can still see some of the breaks here along through this. And I did the exact same thing that I did with the snowman there, and you can see the plastic pieces underneath there a little bit when I'm showing inside there. The embedded pieces of milk jug that I put in there, and then put more epoxy on, and I've repaired all the cracks on the outside. The one piece that I am missing, I've repaired with some milk jug here. I still have a piece that when it broke I couldn't find it, and I'm going to eventually get to putting another piece of milk jug right here, make sure it's all smooth and watertight there. But for the most part, if you look close at it, you can see all the cracks. But if from a distance, it looks just fine. And because this glue is clear, it doesn't block out a lot of the light. So you can see it a little, but it's not horrendous. And it's not too bad of a fix. So anyway, that was just some quick information on some glue. Highly recommend Gorilla Glue for fixes like this, or Gorilla Epoxy, I should say. Sets in about 5 minutes. So only mix little bits at a time. If you put a whole bunch out there and you get stuck fixing a small piece or something, this will harden, and when it hardens, it doesn't get unhardened. So be careful with this stuff. Make sure that you got plenty of newspaper down. But this is good stuff, and I've repaired a couple of my blow molds, and it'll do the trick, but again, has to be thick. All right, thanks very much, and appreciate it from the Blow Mold Hospital.